Let's look at the CQ series over here.
All right, so first of all, you're Richard
Starr. I'm the marketing manager for Pro Audio at American Music and Sound, and we are the US distributors for Allen Heath.
Okay, let's go. What do you got?
This is the CQ series. So these are the most compact digital mixers that Allen Heath has ever come out with, this is a really exciting product launch. This came out like within the last 6 months, and basically these are meant for a context where you normally use an analog mixer, like a small analog mixer, like if you're doing a little corporate gig or a karaoke bar or a home studio.
With an Ethernet?
Yeah, well,
who thinks that way with a compact mixer?
Well, that's the thing. If you look, it comes in 3 different versions. This is the smallest version, the CQ12T. The 20B stage box version and the 18T over there both have integrated Wi-Fi. So basically, the Ethernet port would be used for the same purpose as if you wanted to use it with an external tablet or to control it and walk around the room and mix remotely.
Right.
You'd connect this to a wireless router, and then you can walk around and control it from an Android, iOS, Windows, or Mac device. And you have full control of all the features of the CQ.
Now I see it has handles. Does that mean it has a battery in there?
No, it's not battery powered, I'm afraid. But yeah, this is kind of just part of making the build quality strong. You can kind of toss this in a backpack, and it's really durable and rugged. I think the fact that there's no faders on it also kind of makes it a more durable thing. You could be not so careful with it. Whereas if you have real faders, you got to watch out for getting dust and whatever in it. What's cool about CQ is it has a lot of different recording options. So right now we're playing back tracks off of an SD card. You could record straight multi-track directly to an SD. So this is a great mobile recording studio or mobile podcast studio. You could just kind of bring this to your guest's house, sit it down, and connect all your mics up, and then record your podcast to an SD card, and then mix it over later. It has a USB port here as well, USB-B, where you can connect to a computer and record multi-track directly as well. And you can play back and record in stereo to a USB drive that way.
Awesome.
It also has an integrated Bluetooth, so if you're like a mobile DJ, for example, using this and you want to play back off your phone, playback stereo inputs over Bluetooth. And I think the big thing about CQ is a lot of smart features that it has. So for example, if you're doing a sound check for your GarageBand, there's something called the Gain Assistant. So if I go to the config screen, I could select a bunch of inputs. So let's do multi-select. I'm selecting these first 5 inputs. See, it says Gain Assistant. So I could hit Auto Set, and it's listening to the signal, and it's kind of setting the gain to an optimal place.
So you don't have to figure it out.
dB. Yeah, you don't have to go through each channel and say, okay, get me some kick and turn it up. Get me some snare. It's automatically doing all this in the background. And then once it's set, you can enable the auto gain as well. And this will listen, and if any of these channels are clipping, it will slowly bring down the gain so that you're no longer distorting.
Feature.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really great for, I could see an entry-level user who's not comfortable setting gain, that would help them, but even an experienced
I'm busy playing the guitar, and I want to touch the mixer. That'll do it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to stop playing, guys. I got to go adjust the gain.
Yeah, exactly.
I know exactly what you're saying.
The console does a lot of boring things for you, so you could really focus on the creative side of mixing, I think is the appeal. Other smart features include a feedback assistant. So if you're in a live performance, you can select any output, and then, under the processing screen, feedback assistant. So you can enable this during initial sound check, and it will listen for feedback and kind of make cuts on the EQ, very sharp cuts at any point that's making feedback.
Another awesome feature.
Yeah, and it will listen live during their performance. So if somebody starts getting wild with their microphone, getting too close to the monitor, it will make cuts as well, and then it could bring them back up after the feedback is gone.
Wow, it does a lot of thinking that some people don't think about.
Yeah, it's another. Dealing with feedback is another boring aspect of mixing that you don't have to think about with CQ.
All right. Turn your monitor. Let's see if it's you.
Yeah, exactly. It's all kind of very touchscreen focused. So if I open the fader screen, this is how I control the faders. It's multi-touch, so I can control multiple faders at once. I can also run it on an iPad, so if you want bigger faders, you could do it there, or set it to faders only, and now you get much more resolution in the control of the faders. It's very intuitive. You have 6 auxiliary outputs as well as the mains, and if you want to change what you're sending to, you just kind of tap on a different output, and now this fader is sending to that output that I've selected rather than a main. So
why does it say 12? Is that 12?
So you have 10 line input, 10 mic line
10?
inputs,
You got the Bluetooth,
plus the stereo input, plus the Bluetooth, plus the USB input.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't computing that very well.
So if you want to look at the 20B, so this is more of a stage box format. So this one doesn't have a screen on it, of course. So it's meant to be controlled entirely with a tablet. So Android, iOS, Windows, Mac. You can run our CQ Mixpad app and control everything you could from the screen. Okay. And this console, usually you'd use this in a situation where you'd plop this down on your stage, and then you'd walk around with your iPad and mix in front of house. Yeah.
Yep.
And then the 18T over here has a few more channels compared to the 12T, plus the integrated Wi-Fi that you saw before, so you don't need a wireless router if you wanted to control this wirelessly. And it has these cool rotaries that you have two options for those. You can either have them be what's called smart rotaries, where they'll follow whatever's on screen. So if I go to processing and I select a particular input, it's kind of, here, let's go to, let's see. I need something that I could adjust with these smart rotaries. Let's convert. EQ. Okay, so now I'm on my EQ screen, and you can see that the color of the rotaries changes according to what I have selected. And so I can make adjustments,
LED in there,
and it follows what's on the screen. But let's say I don't want to do that. Let's say I always want access to my main mix all the time. I can go to Config, and I can tap on any of these and turn off Smart Rotary, and I say, okay, I want this to be my main level fader for my main LR. And so now, no matter what screen I'm on, this knob over here always controls my master.
So for those who like the hands-on rather than my fingers not working, I got gloves on.
Yeah, if you're wearing gloves while you're mixing, you can always control the mains here.
All right.
So yeah, the CQ is really versatile console, used in a lot of contexts where you'd normally use an analog console, but now you have all your gates and compressions and EQs all built into it. So I could see this suiting a lot of different needs, both for corporate, for music production, for podcasting. It has an automatic mic mixer, so if you want to use this at a conference, you can have it so that when one person's talking, it will duck the other mics automatically.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, really great for a podcast or a conference situation.
Yeah. Anything else new?
Yeah, we can also look at the Avantis Solo.
Let's do that.
As you can see, it's really popular, so there's a lot of people around it. So the dual screen Avantis is what we call it now. That's what we call a retro NAMM. This used to be the only Avantis. This came out a couple years ago. So it's a 64-channel digital mixer, mainly targeted at live sound. It's focused on these two huge HD screens, so that a lot of the workflow is focused around the screen, where you kind of touch and select and touch and turn. It has 64 channels of input processing at 96K. It has 42 fully configurable buses, so you could say, I want this many groups, I want this many auxes, this many matrices. As long as you stay within 42, you can allocate those as needed. It has an S-Link port on the back to connect to our stage boxes. It has 2 card slots if you wanted to expand via Dante or Waves or MADI or anything like that. And I think what people were demanding after the Avantis was so popular and getting out there, people wanted a smaller version. So that's when we came out with the Avantis Solo. This came out just in October. We launched it at AES. And it's all the same processing power as the standard Avantis. So you still have all 64 channels, all 42 buses, everything I mentioned before, just in half the size. So half the faders and one screen.
Well, it looks like with the chassis that you made this thing to be to take a little bit of abuse.
Yeah, I think so.
A road abuse.
It's a tank. It's a tank.
Because it's not all plastic. I mean,
no, this is not plastic. You can see it's all very screen focused. When you want to select the channel, it's all done through the screen. And then this encoder here, if you want to touch and turn, you can make adjustments to the screen. It's all fully customizable as well, so you have several different layers of faders, but if you wanted to change what's showing up, you can go to Setup, Control, and Strip Assign. Now let's say I want to bring like a DCA down here. The top half of the screen is kind of a catalog of all my different channels, so let's grab a DCA and drag it down, and let's put on my first fader, and now it's there. I have a DCA too, let's put it over here. And it I can lay out all these layers, they're fully customizable to whatever suits my needs.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this is a really exciting product. A lot of people are very interested in it, especially people who love the original Avantis but need something a bit more portable.
Same number of channels?
Yeah, same. All 64 channels still available.
Just in a smaller transportable case.
Correct, exactly.
So if I was in a club, I could still have all of my features in a smaller space.
Yeah, and you could even use like the same file. So if you typically work on an Avantis and you have a particular show file that you saved, that you worked on a lot, you could take that same show file, load it up here, and it'll just load up half the screen. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
And you can see the stage box down there. So that's a typical stage box you would connect to our Avantis. That's a GX4816, but we have a whole range of different sizes of stage boxes that you can connect.
Well, that's awesome. It's like you.
Muhammad Music Club needs. Maybe this
I can't answer the question. I don't know what they're looking for. So
I think they do need it. I think you're right.
Well, what it is I just started going to this. They call it a music club, but basically it's a jam session for musicians. And they have all the songs on a Google Drive, and so they go around the room and everybody just picks what they want to do, and then everybody turns to that. Okay, we're playing this one, and you know, whether you're good or bad or whatever.
Okay.
But we've enough people come. I think last time I went we had 15 players.
Oh, okay.
Majority were guitars. They did have one lady who played the tambourines and foo-foo stuff. One drummer. I'm the only keyboardist there. They've never had a keyboardist there, so I thought that was kind of. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So they ran out of channels.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this can go up to 64 channels. We also have our SQ series along the back wall that goes up to 48. So it depends on what you anticipate hitting as your maximum channel count.
Well, what's the price point
on this?
Yeah.
This is about 10,000.
Okay.
And then the dual screen Avantis is, I think it's between 12 and 15,000.
But it's Allen Heath.
Yes.
So you're paying for, you're getting exactly what you're paying for.
Yeah, and if you compare it to other products with the same capabilities, we typically beat them on that price range and much higher quality as well.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, that's awesome.
Cool. Anything else I can help you guys with?
Nope. That'll do, Richard.
Cool.
You're the man.
Yeah. Pleasure meeting you.
Gotta have the stuff.